Ann at Luke's Sewing Center, and I've been making masks using my serger. It's a lot of fun and it's faster than your machine. So I got my pattern online. You can get the same pattern. It comes in small, medium, and large. The site is freesewing.org/designs. You can pick up that. I will point out that when you're sewing them, they show your tab for your elastic at the bottom. You'll notice on the ones I've made, I moved it up. I found that when people are wearing these, if they're down here, they don't make this tight enough, whereas this must hit them probably at their chin, and so it's a better fit. And the other thing I will point out is that using it on the serger, I'm using a 4-thread overlock, and I'm doing the seams on the outside. One of the reasons is when someone wears this, then they have a flat seam on the inside. It's more comfortable for their nose. And then lastly, I want to mention on this particular machine, the Elna 864 Air, it's an air threader. So that means that you don't have to thread this yourself for the loopers. And that makes it really fast and easy. And maybe one of the reasons, if you don't have it, that you don't use your serger. So this is the sample that I'm making. I made one. I did the black thread so that you could see it more easily. What this is comprised of is the exterior fabric, a vacuum cleaner filter, and the interior fabric or lining. So the filters that we are using from the vacuum cleaners are HEPA filters. So like I said, it's really fast on here. I'm going to put these together and put it on my machine. I have my sandwich together with the cover, the filter, and the piece that will go against your nose. As I said, I'm doing exterior. I know normally when you sew, you put right sides together. So I have to really think about this because it goes against those rules. So I have my sandwich together, and if you come around here, I want to point something out. On my sample, you'll notice when I started my seam on the serger, to get your tail in here so you don't have to worry about it fraying up there, that's what I want to show you now. So you've already been using it. You'll pull this out and clip it. There will be one of these that will come out that was an extra. So then you're down to 4 threads again because we're doing a 4-thread serge. You want to bring that, I'm going to tuck this in here and see my blade? It's going to hit my fabric. Then I'm going to slide these 4 threads under here. And once I start to sew and the blade starts to cut, I will hold this and then have the blade eventually cut it. And that will keep the thread in the seam, or the tail in the seam, so you don't have to worry about it. And there it is. Now, I open it up, and that will be the front. When I go to sew these, I will sew the bottom and the top and then the sides. What's nice about this, these pieces, if they're not cut perfectly, it's not a problem because your blade can cut these again. So that's what I'll do now, is lift this up. I'm not worried about the tail on this one because I'm going to come down after and go over it. So I'm just going to start sewing, cutting that. Now I pull this because there is extra fabric in there for the nose. give it a little tug, and then come around the corner. And I'm done with that. Now I'm going to go on top and do the same, and just make sure that you lay your seam down the same direction as you did on the bottom. So let's, again, lift this up, put it down. Okay, now we're ready for our sides. And if you don't want to trim anything off, each serger, depending on the make, is a little different. You can have this blade come down and not cut at all. I'm going to keep it up just in case I find even a little bit that I want to cut. I can always run the blade, this seam, close to it if I decide I don't want to cut any more fabric off. It's just a matter of placement. Okay, so now the last thing that we have to do is to add our elastic. Okay, so I have it all trimmed. I've cut 2 pieces of elastic. I actually didn't have a 1/4 or 1/2 inch elastic. I had a really wide band, so I cut them down. My first piece on this size will be a 10 inch that will go around the top, and a 9 inch to go from the bottom. I'm not going to use the serger to attach it. I'm going to use the Janome M7. It's a fantastic sewing machine. Of course, it does a lot more than I'm using it for right now. Okay, so I'm at the Janome M7 sewing the elastic on. I'm using a zigzag stitch, and I really overdo it because I'm going to allow for this mask to get used a lot, and this way they don't have to worry about the elastic coming off. I'm just going to go forward and back, forward and reverse. Sometimes I'll move it around. It may appear a little sloppy to some people, but like I said, it's very secure. That is not coming off. So you can see how that's on there securely. I will flip it over and do this, and then do the bottom piece. Okay, so I've got the top elastic piece on. Now I'm going to place the second one, as I mentioned, about 1 inch up from the bottom. Just better placement for the face, and I'll be securing these. Okay, so here it is. See, it's a really nice fitting, comfortable mask that will be washable and machine washable, gentle cycle, and air dry and reusable. And there you have it.